adopted child, illegitimate child, child of direct lineage, and then return through the mother to the position of Adam the father. Like, just this in itself, we could talk for weeks on it, and it's something that fascinates me, because I do think we are all on this personal journey of restoration. And in our tribal messiahs, if we look at what's happening in our lives, in our relationships, we are, restoring this. So it gave me hope as well, because sometimes in my own personal journey, I do feel somewhat of a servant in my hometown. And I've been feeling sometimes stuck or frustrated because, we all have this heart when we're being raised by our true parents, our heart to restore. We're all, desperately wanting to fulfill mother's directions, to move out. And sometimes we're genuine. We have that hope. We have that really deep desire to serve our people. But sometimes I was feeling I'm stuck. I can't even move to go out. And I think it's interesting to look at that and actually see in your own dynamics what is going on, because we are the tribal messiah, and we're in the position of that servant. I feel I'm a servant of servants, I feel sometimes. Trying to restore relationships and digesting things, silence, servant. Because if you start to, bring up what's right, that, you're going to cause conflict. And I'm beginning to see that over those several years, I can see the fruit of that now, that I didn't engage in certain things. I had to refrain. And I was really painful position. I was put in, false accusations, and also around the church, being a member and being accused of thinking I was superior to everyone else. And and it was very, very painful, because you cannot share this. You can't share this deep pain. And each of us have that going on. We have our own personal pain. And oftentimes I felt I can share this, what's going on. The other person can have empathy, but they cannot feel it. You can't feel it. You can have deep empathy and desire to relieve someone else's pain or grief. But actually, the only other being that does experience it is Heavenly Parent. And that really hit me, because it means we have somewhere to bring that pain and be understood by Heavenly Parent. And sometimes I think in that position, that is our master. To offer that up can actually, and it can start to relieve God's heart, because we're really connecting and we're bringing it to where the rightful place for it to be resolved, restored. But just to conclude my own personal journey, I do see that I actually now I'm standing in a position where I can't be accused. It's righted itself. And somehow I think I just want to encourage myself and others that sometimes we think we're stuck somewhere, but actually if we start to look at it and we start to look at the course of restoration of our true parents, we're kind of a microcosm of that. It's happening in our own lives, and to realize who we are in this movement, that we've had a history of fallen parents. And I come from psychiatric background, and we're not allowed to go into the courts to be on the jury. Do you know why? Because we'll have too much empathetic for the childhood of the person. And you want to shout out, like, so you really acknowledge the childhood is so important, because they'll say, can you excuse him? His father was absent. His father was an alcoholic. His mother was. And I'm thinking, the truth is known. You need the parents there. You need the mother and the father, and you need a very loving relationship for the chance to become a fruitful and altruistic member of society. But yet you can see what's going on today. That's all in denial. So, it's to start to look at ourselves in this position before God. We are God's children. God really wants us and has our back all the time. And we are. If you look deeply into your own relationships, you may feel that you are stuck. You may feel in the position of servant, but actually that position is actually the true leader. So it's interesting when I came across servant leadership, because I'll give you a brief background. And it's one of these things that people are saying are the most important and influential leadership. It's the most compelling and profound, and it's going to radically change society. So servant leadership is the opposite of leadership, which is top down. And it's clearly that doesn't work. But the funny thing is, when I was studying this, all the lectures were around, Dylan, would you mind giving me water if you don't mind? Thank you. All the lectures were around this model of mentoring leadership. Thank you. And because I was studying something different, I asked her, I don't want to take on any of these because this is my area of interest. And she said, have you looked at servant leadership? And I was thinking, no. But it's funny because it's not mainstream. And yet the people that are researching it are profoundly excited about it. And it gives me hope, because I reckon if they want to study it, our true parents are the place to go to really find out what servant leadership is. So just very briefly, in terms of Greenleaf was the founder, or he coined the phrase servant leadership. And he was Quaker, actually. And he worked for AT&T, and he became a leader at the top. But he realized that it wasn't working this way, and he was quite altruistic in his approach. And he read the book Hermann Hesse, and it's a Journey to the East. And it's about this excursion of a group of individuals on a profound mission. And so they had this is him, thank you. The chief servant was called Leo. And he was their servant. He took care of their menial tasks. If they had any problems, he'd go to them. He was guiding them along the way, singing, telling them stories. But Leo vanishes one day, and they just can't make it without him. So the narrator, sometimes later, the narrator, they abandon their journey, but he comes across Leo again in this order, this spiritual order, who actually they had sponsored the journey. And he discovers that Leo is actually the leader in that order. So he concludes Greenleaf, in looking at this, is really profoundly impacted by it, because his interest is this leadership. So he says, he concludes that the story clearly says that the great leader is seen as the servant first, because that was what he was to begin with, deep down inside. And that fact, that simple fact, is the key to his greatness. So it lay dormant for a while, but then a crisis hit in the 70s in terms of leadership, and he started to bring it forward. He said it's a new kind of leadership, and he wrote the servant as leader. So, you know, they're talking about the servant as leader, like it's like contradictory in term. How can you be a servant and a leader? It seems to even clash. And it's like the two words are opposing. So it's like he talked about it as the servant, your servant at heart, before, during, and after holding the leadership position, which can be, the leadership position can be given or taken away, but the servant heart can't. So, you know, they even talk then Jesus, you can go to that quote. Thank you, Dylan. Go to the next one. Yeah, just here. It compels you to consider the very nature of leadership. You know, the servant as leader. It's not leader as servant. And I had to think about that. And it's servant as leader. So the word servant is the foundational word. It's not, oh, I'm going to become a great leader and I'll serve the people. Like politically, if you look at our political system, we've got leaders who are called civil servants, but they don't have the heart to serve the needs of the people. So we go to the next slide, Dylan, thanks. So this is, they say that Jesus was the penultimate example, and it's interesting to see Jesus written into the research. But the greatest among you should be the one like the youngest, and the one who rules like the one who serves. And the next one, Dylan. Anyone who wants to be first must be the very last and the servant of all. not domineering over those in your charge, but being examples to the flock. Next. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve. And here we have it. And I just think this is just the start of me looking into this, because I would like to link it into True Father and True Mother and our movement, because, but for now, this was the one that summed it up. I'm doing the servant job in order for you to become the owners of heaven. You know, like, wasn't Father the greatest leader, like dynamic? He had those qualities of leadership that we want we need to look at. What are those qualities of leadership? Because amongst our movement here, people have naturally got those qualities. And in the last few months, with Mandy and myself coming and going here, we can see it, you know, because we're very moved by the second gen. And, you know, you've inherited, I think they've inherited the best of their parents, would you say? Because it's lovely to see, because we came here, you were like so young. And then now we can see you like with this gorgeous hearts. Like, it's very moving to see that when we need something, you just come, and there's a place for everybody. And I feel very moved by this movement. I think we have a lot of talent here and a lot of that artistic servant. So we look to true parents to find out how to restore the fall, basically. And it is through this servant position. And so it's so clear we have our true parents. And without that, we can't get home. We can't get home. So where will I go next? Yeah. Some of the qualities that they're researching now is, you know, listening, empathy, healing, awareness, persuasion, foresight, stewardship, community building. But the point of the servant leadership is it's like you're propelled forward. It's not something, and I'm sure we can identify with this, right, in the movement. We love to be followers. We are followers, like what are followers called? Like those who you are leading are the followers. So it's like really being moved by the needs of the followers above all else, and dropping everything to serve that need, putting your own needs aside to be able to move into that position. Do you know what I mean? It's not coming from the head, it's coming from the heart, it's coming from the need. You may not want to step up. It's very hard sometimes for us to step forward. But if we can follow the heart, what is it that we're moved by? That's where we can have the most impact. So who would you say is in the position of the ultimate service at the moment? Is our true mother. And naturally, when you look in the family, it's the heart of the mother that has that profound service. Would you agree with that? And for me, you know, when you're on your own, you're looking after your own needs. I had a lovely wardrobe of clothes. I could sleep when I wanted to sleep. But when I had the first child, everything changed. And you're stretched and drawn. And like, you do have the natural characteristics of the woman. And the man also contains those nurturing characteristics. But God has imbued the mother nature into the woman. So it's kind of inherent. But because of the fall, we've inherited the fallen nature of mother. And all of our problems are coming from the wrong position that the parents weren't able to pass on. They passed on pain and anxiety. And while our heart is to love our children, we have inherited, we're programmed to some of those elements of the fall. And we kind of get stressed about it because we can see the ideal, and sometimes spontaneously this other part of us comes out. This is the time to restore that. This is a great time of hope. And interestingly, it is through our true mother. And if you can see that because she's present and she's embodying the characteristics of the Mother God, the way has opened up for the world, not just in our movement, but beyond. Because I'm also fascinated to see there's a new concept now called mother hunger. And I thought this is amazing because we have the way forward to heal the heart of the mother, to heal our wounds. And this psychologist noticed that her clients were having similar feelings, normal clients, we'd say, than those who were traumatized by their mothers at birth or when they were in child. So she said, we have actually a global epidemic, and she called it mother hunger. And she had her own issues with mother hunger. And it was meaning we never received that nurturing heart from the mother to one degree or another. And it's just passed on and passed on. And she said, when we can address it now, it's time to let it go. But think about it. Why can somebody be inspired to think like this, to have that insight that the problems of humankind are coming from parents? And particularly, there is a thing called father hunger, but she's focusing on this mother hunger because why? The role of the mother is that nurturing spirit, that unconditional love. You don't have to do anything to deserve my love. You're loved because your true value is to be loved. So God is preparing everything for us. People are prepared out there to hear what our true parents are bringing. It's the only way to save the world. Father says this, I have come to look at the state of the world, and it is in the restoration of those parents, and at the moment, the restoration of the mother's heart. So mother is the ultimate servant. She's carrying the world. Can I have that photograph then, and the black one just to end? And my prayer for us is that we can really let go of all the things that hold us back from embracing that mother energy. And you can see it in her face, like she, as a mother, we will hold back. We show the best side forward. If we have issues, financial issues or any other issues, you don't pour them on the child. You hold them, and then you try and encourage them. Our true mother is holding this. She's holding this space. And she's asking us, she's guiding us very directly. We are the followers, and she's the servant in this position. Yet we cannot get a more profound leader because of that heart of service. It's inherent in the heart of the mother. So, do I have that quote, Dylan? This is the question that the servant leadership, it's their test question. And think of this in relation to true parents and how we can take from them and become like them. Do those served grow as persons while being served, become healthier, wiser, freer, more autonomous, more likely themselves to become servants? Okay. The mother says, true love is a love by which we live for others, investing in others and forgetting that we have done so. So I'm just going to close with the prayer and just conclude it in the prayer. So, dearest Heavenly Parents, we're so grateful to be able to gather today with such a great spirit in the room and to be able to receive your words, your guidance as the greatest leaders that humankind have come in our true parents. Every word that they guide us with is so deep and really touches the heart. And they show by example how to reverse dominion. We know that we were never meant to have to be in the position of servants, and it grieves your heart, pains your heart. And each of us here, I know we have the deepest of hearts. We wouldn't be here otherwise. We have the deepest of hearts, that our main focus is to get into the position where we can be guided by our true mother now, that we can let go of all those things that hold us back from receiving your love. I know true mother understands us. She understands what we've inherited. You know, this conflict that we have inside. But we are so filled with gratitude that this is the era for healing. This is the era for actual restoration in the physical. That we're starting to see people are so prepared out there. You know, there's so many great men and women who have, by their nature, wanting to live their lives to serve other people. So we thank you. We are filled with gratitude, and we pray that we can just offload our burdens, and that we can, first and foremost, you know, become that sort of servant heart towards ourselves. That all of these qualities that come with being that servant, you know, seeing the needs that need to be met, having that unconditional, non-judgment way, you know, seeing it from other people's perspective. And we ask that we can apply that actually to ourselves, and that we can start to raise ourselves in relation to all the conditions around us. We know that you are guiding us day by day, that each instant that's happening in our day is to move us forward. And we can all feel that it's getting more intense. You know, the situations around us are getting more intense. It's like time is even moving faster. And it's an exciting time. It's the time of revelations. The great and terrible day has come. That if we can hand over and connect to our true mother and allow her to embrace us, you know, those terrible things are transmuted into great things. We'll start to see people coming forward, and our movement is strong. We have an incredible Irish movement. We have inherited from our elders. We wish to be open to learning more, because they have lived so deeply the path of service, the path of servant, dropping everything, dropping their college, dropping their relationships, dropping their financial stability to follow our true parents. We just ask that we can inherit this heart now. We can inherit the heart of the people who have bought the centre, been in the centre, worked in the centre, and that was really ultimately the servant's heart. We ask that we can be open to hearing and being guided from our elders as we try and move this providence forward. We're so grateful for our second gen. They are on fire. They have such a beautiful heart, and that we can really hold space for them to rise and to shine. And as Mother says, you know, be the spark that lights up the dark. So with this in mind, we ask you, you know, to be present with us today as we move forward into our AGM, and just for us to really hold that heart of servantship with each other today, to understand from other people's perspective, and just, we do believe, we can feel your presence. We can feel that everything is unfolding, and let's just nicely as a community move towards the next, you know, I feel it's like a tsunami. I feel we're on a tsunami, and it's right, it's the great and terrible day. So that tsunami is like, can go pretty scary, or if you get out of it, it's a miracle. So I pray and report all of this in my name, and I thank you. And I report this in my name, Carol Brunikim, Blessed Central Family. Adieu. And just one sentence, I had a dream a few months ago that I was on a boat, and it was a tsunami. There was a tsunami, but it was calm, and there was this huge wall of water like Moses. And we come back from Women's Federation, so there's a few of us sitting at the table as they did over there, and there was wonderful. Actually, the waiters over there were amazing. We were just so serving. And it was like that. They were waiting there for us. And then I could see the thing, and I was looking around and I was thinking, life jacket, but they just were very solemn. And I was thinking, they're not running for life jackets because life jackets ain't going to help us here. So I went up and then I hid in a little area, and this wall of water, and then the boat was going very fast right by the wall. And I was thinking, and then I took the mind of Jesus, I was thinking, if I have the mind of Jesus, calm the seas. But it did calm. And then I got up and there was Halvard. Hi, Halvard. I said, oh, Halvard. And Halvard was fixing things and those little boats. Pat will find this funny. Because there was a boat hanging over the edge. Halvard was swinging off it. And I was thinking, does Halvard know we've just hit us, there's a tsunami there? And he said, just fixing this. And then he was skiing at the back of the boat with the thing. I was thinking, but he gave me comfort because he was solid. He had faith, you know what I mean? So he came back in, and there was another tsunami coming this way. And I just thought, and then what happened was the boat lifted up and it went like this and dropped with ease. And so it should have absolutely got caught up in that, but it just lifted it and moved it. And then the end was the captain. I just thought, what an amazing captain, because all these things were going on. The tsunami, while it took us that way and dropped us, there was another one coming from the shore, So he just went horizontally across the sea. So the tsunami was coming this way and this way. At high speed, but to perfection. The top of the boat, the water was split in two. It reminds me of the offering of the dove. The water was perfectly split in two. He's going at crazy speeds, and the water came up beautifully and just flowed off the edge. So then I hear on the Korean Providence, they're talking about the tsunami. We've hit tsunami times. So I feel, think about that for our movement, for us here, even though we have all this turbulence, if we can collaborate and unite together, we are in that boat. And to inherit from our elders. I felt Halvard, I was listening to what Halvard wrote today. We need to really connect and inherit all that amazing, experiences from their lives. And if we can inherit it quickly and then move forward with their blessing. So I'll leave it at that, and thank you so much. Okay.